Well, hello everybody, and welcome 2016. I just thought I'd open this year with a bang, or maybe a crash, because this one may get a lot of hate from it. But today I'm doing a Star Wars theory video. I actually have a script for this one like I do with a lot of my videos, but I'm going to try to use it a whole lot less. But, yeah, I'm doing a theory today. That's kind of obvious, kind of already just said that. Anyway, so today's theory is Obi-Wan Anakin's father? Now, you see where I'm going with this whole crash idea. As most fans have assumed, but I believe it is not entirely proven, they assume that Plagueis is Anakin's father, that he can manipulate midichlorians so strongly because he's such a strong and developed Sith Lord. But I think that this theory has some things going for it. Now, of course, you may be, of course, you may be thinking in your head, but Obi-Wan was a Padawan when Anakin was alive. You know, Anakin, he was a child. Well, I'm not saying that Obi-Wan did it. I'm saying that Ben Kenobi did it. Think I'm crazy yet? Well, it seems that in various works of literature, I'm not entirely sure if it's ever been done in Star Wars. I don't have a lot of the expanded universe things, which are now on canon, so it doesn't matter to have them anymore. But anyway, it's possible that time travel could be involved with these Force ghosts, and that is why they're able to warn people of the past, warn people of the future, and able to kind of shift through time, because there are even some stories in popular literature, not necessarily Star Wars, that have told the tales of ghosts that are from the future, that are dead versions of the same people that are now alive, warning them of things to come and preventing the negative effects of whatever's going to happen. So there is a possibility that time travel could be involved. If you think that I'm crazy for thinking there could be time travel in Star Wars, I've been told of a theory. I don't know where it is or if it exists. If it does exist somewhere, put the link in the comments and I'll try to add it to my description. But I've been told there's a theory that Han Solo is a time traveler. It has something to do with the parsecs, and that it's not necessarily just distance, it's also some form of time. But I have no idea what all the nonsense about that is, so if you wanted to explore that, go and find it. But I need to keep generating ideas and not be super slow. I don't know how much time I've hit because my phone is farther away from me now that I've set up this new set. If you want to hear about my new set, there's an iCard for my new filming studio. I put this together towards the end of 2016. Anyway, so we've this weekly established possibility of time travel dealing with these Force ghosts. Especially the stronger you are as a Force ghost, it would be able to be easier to do time travel. And it is possible that that is part of what Plagueis was trying to do with his manipulation, being able to bring things back to life. And that when he brings things back to life, it is almost as if he's going through time and bringing the almost living essence of the people together, you know. And now, as we obviously can tell, it doesn't seem like Force ghosts are able to strongly affect certain events. But if it had to deal with the Force and had to deal with items within the Force, it seems like the Force is kind of an omnipresent being and could perhaps, since Jedi are able to channel through the Force and see future and past and be able to connect with the entire world as a timeline too, not the entire world, the entire galaxy as a timeline, as well as the time that they are in. You know, they're able to predict certain things. So I know this all sounds incredibly crazy, but just stick with me. Hopefully it'll all make sense. So my theory is that Obi-Wan went from the here at the towards the end of the timeline after he becomes a Force ghost. Now, clearly in Star Wars, it's not that the animators weren't able to animate a cut-in-half Obi-Wan. It is that Obi-Wan absorbed himself into the Force rather than dying. It was as if he was, like, translated into Force heaven, practically. You know, like he was, I've been told in the Bible there are actually stories, not to get off on a religious tangent, but there are stories of entire cities being lifted into the heavens and not having to die because of how good they were and stuff. And so in a sense, Obi-Wan was kind of righteous with the Force, and that allowed him to take himself up so that he didn't have to experience the pain of being sliced in half by Vader's lightsaber. And we know that this wasn't just a bad issue with the animators and effects team and stuff, because they were able to cut off the arm of that one woolly man, well, he's called Walrus Man, but he's apparently a type of spider or something along those lines. I believe there's a video on that by John Soto. I'll leave a link in the iCards somewhere. iCards. And following, so we've cleared things up. Obi-Wan absorbs himself into the Force, which shows that he has a very strong level with the Force. You know, the Force is pleased with him, as if the Force had almost a sentient mind. So the Force takes him away, and now he is a Force ghost, and he, in a sense, doesn't really age. You know, you see him as an old man when he comes again to Luke, which is confusing. It makes you wonder, is he coming to Luke as an old man because that's what his spirit looks like, or is it because he's not entirely dead as a Force ghost? You know, I mean, Yoda is almost ageless. He doesn't change as much as he ages. But Anakin, in the original thing, is a Jedi Master. You have no idea who he is, but it looks like in his younger years. And then with the newer edits on the end of Episode 6, it is a version of Anakin near Episode 3. So a long gap between Vader and Anakin, and how they look and everything, which shows that, in my opinion, that means that Anakin is more fully dead than Obi-Wan. And that Obi-Wan is more free to use the Force, since he's more, I don't know, he's just more alive than Anakin is. You know, Anakin officially died. Obi-Wan just moved himself up. So he's almost like he's still a little human and not just a spirit with the Force. If you're still not confused, then give this a thumbs up. If you're incredibly confused, give this a thumbs down. Well, let me know why, and then I'll try to explain it. And then if you're still confused, give this a thumbs down. Or you can give it a thumbs down whenever you want, because I don't really care. If any of my videos, well, never mind. I used to say if any of my videos got more dislikes than likes, that I would remove it. But that happened with my December song vlog. It was just one dislike over a like, so it's like, oh yeah, see December song, not December song vlog, December song cover in the iCards. So if you want to see that, and put your thumbs up or thumbs down. But I don't think it should really be that. It should be just like a bigger ratio, just a bigger distance. I don't know. I guess if it just gets enough hate, then I'll drop it down. I'll just try to gauge it somehow. Anyway, keep thoughts going. So, Obi-Wan is more alive than Anakin in a Force sense, and he's more in control of his Force and himself, because although the dark side was able to make Anakin more powerful, Obi-Wan has what seems to be a very large amount of wisdom and a large amount of just, he kind of has this just aura about him, you know. You first see Obi-Wan in Episode 4, and you know he's coming to Anakin's rescue and different things, and he's just very mysterious, a very mysterious and very wise man. Which brings me to another point. If he is so wise and so mysterious and so powerful, why would he allow himself to be killed by Vader unless it was necessary? Yes, I believe that with the time travel theory becoming plausible in this little whole thing we're doing, that Obi-Wan went from the future back in time as a Force ghost and told his younger self at some point in his Jedi ages that he would need to do that in the battle with Vader, and that he could actually beat Vader, but he needed to restrain himself, restrict himself, and allow himself to be taken up into the Force so that the mission could be completed in the proper way. So in reality, Obi-Wan knows that he needs to complete the mission before he completes the mission, thanks to himself telling himself, which leads into another one of these huge paradoxes, just like my Polar Express theory. I'll put it in the iCards. If at any point I run out of iCards, I don't know how many iCards I've already said. I think I only get 5 per video. Then, if I say iCard again and I've already used them all up, then that would just mean in the description. So, this creates a huge paradox and a huge chain. But what does this have to do with Anakin? The time that Obi-Wan goes back to the past, because I'm guessing it would take a ton of force to do such a huge ton of midichlorians, whatever you want to call it, to do such a huge travel back in time. That when he gets back there, he would want to do everything he needed to do. So he would use his strong amount of force to conceive Anakin. He would use the force into Shmi to conceive Anakin, because he was conceived in midichlorians. And then he would tell his younger self, which would be like a youngling at the Jedi Temple, but I'm assuming his younger self would have had to have remembered for it to all play out as it needed to. But he would tell his younger self at the exact right time, and then would proceed to wrench himself back. And I'm assuming the amount of force and recovery and energy relating to the force, that's the gap between when we see Obi-Wan disappear himself, which uses a ton of energy, and then we see Obi-Wan appear fully to Anakin, to Luke towards closer to the end of the series. That there are several gaps in between there in which he could have been using his midichlorians and his energies to do all of the crazy things he's doing. So that just about wraps the theory up. And if you are still confused and think I'm a crazy lunatic, I still have more proof. I already hit 12 minutes. It's a really long video already, and you probably don't like long videos. But there's also genetics involved, because Shmi's hair is dark brown, and we see this kind of brownness in Anakin's hair. But what color is Anakin's hair in Episode 2? Well, it's many different colors depending on what you're looking at. If you're looking at I think the How It Should Have Ended says his hair is blonde, and it shows it as blonde for Episode 2. But in the Lego game, his hair is orange. His hair does have a kind of an orangish color, and Obi-Wan's hair also goes through several phases between orange and brown. So the genetics with the hair lines up. And then, who's to say that Obi-Wan from Episode 1 and Anakin from Episode 2 don't look at least mildly similar? If I was good at video editing and actually put the effort and time into making video editing, then you would have photos of it, And maybe I'll have photos for my video icon. I'll probably do that. But anyway, sorry, I need to keep focused. I'm not a very good focuser. I have ADHD, if you didn't already know, but you probably do because it's kind of obvious. Also, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. Completely off topic, but sort of not. I'm just going to get down so you can see it better. It's got, class of 1977, and it's got all of the main cast of Star Wars with different things describing them, best chess club champ, most changed, best teacher, just a bunch of different great things. So, yeah. So the genetics match up, how they look matches up, almost everything matches up, plus the relationship matches up. The relationship with each other goes between being like father and son and brother to brother, and goes back and forth between the two because of course, there's a lot of crazy time gaps and everything. And it just is impressive to see how closely they're connected and how they just seem to kind of come together like they're related. And it puts a little spin on things to think, what if it was Obi-Wan all along and not Plagueis? I looked it up on Google, didn't get any very accurate results, it was kind of all over the place. But for the most part, it is not canon that Plagueis is Anakin's father. It is that it is a, assumed kind of idea, and that everyone says it and thinks it. But, yeah, so, did you like this theory? Did you agree? Do you think I'm crazy? Put in the comments what you believe. What do you not believe? What do you think? Everyone's always also caught up in, oh, who is Rey's father? Oh, who is Finn's parents? All these different theories, and it's just like, why don't we go back a little and think early on? I've actually been cultivating this theory for like 2 whole years, and, well, a lot of thinking. I never wrote it down until now, and that paper's now under my table leg, and I ripped it. Good job, Jared. You ripped your paper. Well, that's basically the entirety of the theory. I covered the genetics, I covered tons of stuff, and there's also one point I just remembered looking at my paper. I really need to get better at memorizing these things. But it's that Anakin turns to the dark side. That's kind of huge. Shmi is not force sensitive. As far as we're concerned, Shmi is not force sensitive. She is just Anakin's mother and is just kind of there. She doesn't really do anything major other than have to watch Anakin leave her and then eventually get killed by Tusken Raiders. But Shmi is not force sensitive at all. And Shmi doesn't seem like the dark, evil type, unless you want to be like hair stereotypical or hair racist or something and say she has dark hair, she's evil, but that completely doesn't make any sense if you go to Count Dooku who has white hair. So anyway, I'm getting off track. Anyway, I'm saying too many anyways. So why is Anakin dark? Why is he dark? It doesn't make any sense. You think about it, and you think about it, and you think about it some more, and it's like, why did Anakin turn to the dark side if Obi-Wan conceived him? That means Anakin's fully made of good. But anyone can change. Anyone, no matter how pure their background, can change. It just all depends on the situation and how things work out. And so, and there's also a theory by John Solo, iCard for his theory up there, and he discusses why Luke stayed on the light side, Anakin went to the dark side. Anakin was introduced to the Force at an early age and had a surplus of it thanks to Obi-Wan giving him so much. And as a young child, there's a lot of people know this, that young children are kind of prone to doing things that are not good. They're also prone to doing things that are really good. Children are kind of a blank slate. Not to be rude or anything, but children most times start out not being good, not being evil, just being empty. I don't mean to be rude to babies or anything, and crying is not a sin because they don't know it, but it's just, they're just kind of empty. And then over time, their situations and all the things piled on top of them cultivates who they become. Obi-Wan was born and raised with all this Jedi training around him. He was born and raised with all of this, just all of this, and it was just, it was a safe environment that cultivated him into a wise and powerful Jedi. And it gave him the skills that he needed. Now, of course, there's also kind of personalities that are formed in people, so even if they're all put in the same environment, and even if they're the same person, like the clones, everyone kind of turns out a little differently. So, yeah, but anyway, Anakin's environment was very kind of dark and sad. I mean, he didn't have a father. For all he knew, his father could have been killed or something. He doesn't really believe that his midichlorians as a child. He probably didn't even know about midichlorians. His mom definitely didn't. And he's being raised as a slave. He tries to do pod races, but gets beat up almost every single time. And suddenly he's given all of this support and all of this protection and all of this strength. And he feels like he can conquer the world and that everything is just going to start working out for him. And, he tries to become more and more powerful. He realizes what his power is. And as a child, power kind of goes to your head, When kids get a new video game system, they play it constantly, 24/7, till it breaks, basically. Kids get a new toy, same thing. Kids become old enough to drive a car, then they probably drive a whole lot more and try to show off and different things, and then there's a lot of these teenage car wrecks and all that. And it's just this sense of power that Anakin is given as a child. He's not ready to handle it. He's not ready, you know? And that's kind of the things that the Jedi Council was saying, is he's not ready, he's too young, but he's also too old. That's the confusing part. He's too old that his memories and his personality is almost fully cultivated, and he's too young that he can't change for the better and understand and use his power properly. But of course, if the Jedi had left him, had said, oh, this kid, he's not able to be trained, we have to just leave him and let him go back to Tatooine, he can't be here, he's not, no, this is against rules of whatever. If they had left him, would the outcome have been any better? It pulled him up, made him good, made him have an environment while he could, you know, but really sending him back, what probably would have happened is that he would have either been killed by Tusken Raiders when Shmi was killed, or he would have had to leave when Shmi was killed, would have fled, Tusken Raiders would have taken Shmi, would have hurt her, and he would have grown up feeling incredibly sad and incredibly mixed emotions, and would have already have discovered his Force, and the Force would have taken him over and made him 10 times darker. Now, of course, this is getting off on a crazy, huge tangent, like 10 times bigger than I thought it would. We're already almost to, like, we're past 20 minutes. This is going to be a crazy long theory. I hope you guys watch this or even enjoy this. You know, I hope this is mildly enjoyable. That's kind of like my little slogan for most of my videos. I hope this is mildly enjoyable. You know, JJ Prince produces another 1 million hour long video. Hope you can get through the first 10 seconds. So, back to the point. Anakin's background, Anakin's life, he's not ready to handle all of this. And it pushes him down. It skews his perspective of everything, and it just ruins things. And he's given his power way too early. He grows up thinking, oh, I'm the one, I'm the best. It inflates his ego, it inflates everything. Everything just cultivates him and prepares him for the dark side. And that makes you go, oh, then he must be related to Plagueis. But I have a feeling that it was Palpatine. That Palpatine's Force, him being assumedly, I don't believe it says it officially anywhere, but him being assumedly Plagueis' apprentice, means that Palpatine is very strong Force as well, and could be manipulating the very minds of some of the strongest of the Jedi, and could be causing these issues and these problems with Anakin, and how Anakin grew up, to try to prepare him to be onto the dark side. Or you could be saying, no, it's because it's Plagueis and you're completely wrong, and I could be completely wrong, but if you want to give me some more concrete evidence as to why I'm wrong, then please explain. So that just about wraps things up. Watch all the iCards. If all of them appeared as iCards, if they didn't, then they appeared in the description, so watch them in the description. And just, I hope you enjoyed this theory. It's incredibly crazy, makes zero sense, but might make some sense, and I hope, as always, that it's mildly enjoyable. So, yeah, so happy 2017, you know, it's 2016 is come and gone, it's over, 2017, new year, new beginning, and new Star Wars movie came out recently. I want to get it. I want to get it on DVD, because I don't know if I'll be able to see it in theaters. But, yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please comment, leave a like, leave a dislike, whatever you want to leave. And this has been JJ Prince, and see you later.